What's up, guys? I'm Crystal Lee Naomi, aka Jasmine Borders on Tyler Perry's Sisters. Be sure to subscribe to the Haves and the Have-Nots review for not only reviews on the Haves and the Have-Nots, but also on Sistas. And while you're at it, give your girl a follow on Instagram at Crystal Lee Naomi. And I'll see you every Wednesday at 9, only on BET.
All right, Sisters fans, now let's talk about the ending of last week's episode. What was it? Season 2, episode 17, entitled Addicted. So before moving forward in the video, please hit subscribe to help me reach 200,000 subscribers. Hit the thumbs up button to show you like the video because, well, let's try to get to 100 likes on it. Also, hit the bell notification icon and select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post new content to the channel. And follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. We are so close to 100,000 members in the Sistas Facebook group. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Was what Gary's saying the truth, or was it all bullshit? He told Andi that there were 3 things. The first being the fact that, hey, this is my ticket to Boston. Number 2, here's a card to the counselor / therapist, whatever term he used. I'm going 3 days a week to work on my, anger issues. I'm going to get better. And then number 3, well, actually, was it the divorce paper? Was the divorce papers number 2? Yeah, the divorce papers, I'm sorry, were the second thing. Yeah, it was the ticket, the divorce papers, the card to the counselor, and then a wild card thrown in there being the quote unquote, I'm just going to call it the promise ring. Basically, hey, I promise you that as soon as the divorce was finalized, I'd marry you. So, okay. I mentioned this in my review that it's difficult to tell with Gary what's true and what's false. Not to mention Tyler Perry has sometimes a way of showing us, telling us instead of showing us what happens when certain character moments happen off screen. I feel like most of what he's saying is bullcrap because of the fact that there's an episode synopsis that's already released, and I put in a video already. It's for episode 21, where it says that Gary reluctantly agrees to go to counseling. Bruh, you literally were on your quote unquote vulnerable side, telling Andi that, oh yeah, here's the number to the person, who I've been talking to. And if even if you tell me not to stay and I go to Boston, I'm going to find somebody out there to help me. This goes back to season 1 where, Andi was following Gary's lead for so long. But then when she finally started to put her heels down and tell him what you're going to do. Hey, Gary, you need to go home to your wife. In order to make this divorce thing kind of settle down since you don't have a prenup. And then when Gary acted like he was going to do what Andi said, it turns out, yeah, I never went back home. I've been staying in a hotel. So basically every time it sounded like Gary, every time Gary was telling Andi everything she wanted to hear, it turned out to be a lie, which leads to me to believe that, I think the divorce stuff is probably legit, even though I really do wish we could have saw some of this stuff on screen because he said his lawyers were working on it and they were working on it off screen. So the whole divorce thing, exposing Jasmine and Morris, okay, that's true. The Boston ticket, for me personally, I think it's fake. I mean, it could be forged. It's just one of those things where I don't think Gary was going anywhere. He was just trying to draw up dramatics in order to get Andi emotional, because I will stand by what I said, and that being one of my favorite Gary scenes in the series so far. It was well acted. I think that the actor portraying Gary did a great job being remorseful, even though we could tell it's bullshit. And the fact that once again, he made it seem, and I've used this analogy at least 2 or 3 times already in sister videos, but he made it seem like he was handing Andi the keys, but it turns out he was the one still driving. I mean, it's like, hey, I know this is a lot to process right now. Think about it. No rush. Andy's like, look, I can't tell you to stay. I like when she said that, but then, he bust out the ring and it's like, oh, snap. So I really do feel like a lot of what he's saying is half truths. Like the ticket, I mean, probably refundable. Maybe it expired. I don't know. I think he said there were a couple of days before he said he would leave anyway. Also, on top of that, the ring. I couldn't get a close up on the ring in HD because I really wanted to see if it was the same ring that he proposed to Andi back in season 1, but then he gave that ring to Jasmine. That episode where she denied it. So it's just one of those situations where I want to go back and check it. Also, on top of that, the counseling thing, it's almost like, he got a gym membership on January 1st, but then just because he has the membership and whatnot, it doesn't mean he actually goes to the membership, So that's probably what's been happening there. I mean, he probably paid off the therapist and whatnot. Like, hey, if Andi calls, tell her, this and that to make it seem like I've been going. So and not to mention, he says 3 times a week. Guys, it's only been a couple of damn days since, he was in jail going off on Andi and then being drunk and then, squeezing her and bruising her ribs. Ain't no way he been in therapy. Sheesh. So I think he's telling a lot of bullshit, just telling Andi everything she wants to hear. And then as soon as the honeymoon phase is over, he's going to be back to an asshole. So that's just my thoughts. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think Gary was indeed telling the truth? Do you think he was just lying, telling Andi everything she wanted to hear? I mean, I really do think that's what happened, given the fact that, notice that when he was in the parking lot, all he said was, I'm leaving to start over in a couple of days. I feel like that was just to get her to draw emotions. Not to mention, before Fatima showed up, it's like, look, I know part of you wants to give me another chance. And that's when I'm like, yeah, he probably thought of exactly what to say and do when he had a chance to talk with Andi in order to get her on his side. Hence why, as soon as she called before she went home from work, it's like, Gary was like, okay, yeah, I know I'm in her head because she reached out to me first. So we're just looking at a situation where Gary manipulated her emotions, and we're going to be right back at square one. That's what I think. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. Remember, Karen did say she would shoot him, but if Andi's the one, wanting this, there ain't nothing she can do about it. So make sure you donate to the channel if you would like on PayPal or Cash App, or join Patreon for as little as $1 a month. And with that being said, I'll talk to you soon.